Today's Talk About It Tuesday question is, what books, recommendations, or strategies can you offer to remove a lack or poverty mindset? Well, I must say this. In all the years that I've been trying to help people improve their financial situation, the number one obstacle by far has been people's mindset. And I'm going to offer some books that I think address mindset, but I must qualify that by saying I don't think there is a book, I don't think there is a recommendation, a strategy, a word at all that can overcome certain people's mindsets, because it's all about perspective. And if you have a certain perspective, you will filter the information that you receive through that lens, and you will not get the lesson. You will reinterpret. And let me give you an example. We all look at the world through a finely tuned lens that we have attuned over the years, and we have refined it to be even more precise over the years. Some people have a lens that is super attuned to finding challenges and obstacles. And so every time they look, all they see is what challenges exist, what obstacles exist that would stop them from being successful. And the one thing that I have learned over the years is whatever you attune your attention to is the only thing that becomes relevant to you, and that thing becomes magnified in size and importance. And it will become so great to you that it becomes insurmountable to a point where you become hopeless and feel helpless. And when you feel hopeless and helpless, you don't even give a half-hearted try. And so you have to shut that lens off and begin to try to attune your lens towards opportunity. And so when you begin to attune your lens towards opportunity, that is what becomes important. That is what becomes magnified and becomes in focus, despite all the challenges, despite all the noise, despite everything else that's there. All you begin to see are the opportunities, and those opportunities become more relevant and they magnify in size, and therefore you focus your efforts and energy on that. And so I will give again these recommendations, but it has to start before the books are read. You have to start turning down that lens that's finely tuned over the years towards challenges and obstacles, and begin to refocus and shift that lens towards, okay, how can I get this done? Where is there an opportunity? Because if all you see is, well, why would somebody lend money to me? Or how can somebody like me own stock? Or how could somebody like me learn these? If that's all you see, you will never do it, and it doesn't matter what book you read. But let's get to these books. I'm going to go first with a classic, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. I think that book, for people who are pursuing wealth and the wealth mindset, is probably by far the most well-read, most often read book on the subject matter. And I would go so far as to say, don't stop with Think and Grow Rich. Napoleon Hill has a library of phenomenal books on mindset and, seeing the world differently. And there are exercises in Think and Grow Rich and some of the other books. So by far, start with Napoleon Hill, written in the 1920s, but still relevant 100 years later, by far, number one. I would go probably, and I'm not a fan of the author, by the way, but as a fundamental book to see the difference between how most people see the world and money and how wealthy people see the world and money, Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. A great starter book, just to show you that you've been conditioned and trained to see the world a certain way as a person who earns income, through a job, as opposed to the world of business and investing on the other side. So it's a great book to show you, hey, there's another world out there that you might not be aware of. Great book. I think another good book that's probably underrated. A lot of people don't know, and it's been around for a while. And I read it many years ago. Great book, The 1 Minute Millionaire by Mark Victor Hansen. Great book, and it's written in like a novel in a story form, full of lessons. So the book is entertaining while it's teaching you lessons, and just phenomenal, just to show you again a different way of seeing the world. And because it's a novel and it has different characters who have different challenges and obstacles, and how they all found their way towards being more financially free or wealthy, is a really good book for most people who are really stuck with, oh, my problem is different than everybody else's problem, or my problem is special. I'm special in a negative way, so things won't work. This book will allow you to get over that. So I think those 3 books are really good starter books. But again, you have to turn off that lens. We know there are challenges. We know there are obstacles. Nobody promised you it would be a straight road. Nobody promised you your road would be the same as somebody else's. So that's just the way life is. Your road will be full of challenges, obstacles, twists and turns. You'll fall down sometimes. You will lose sometimes. But that's just part of the growing process. That's just part of the process of any journey towards anything that you really want to have. So, turn off that lens that points out every obstacle. You don't need to see every obstacle. You don't need to see every challenge. But you need to start seeing opportunities, and you need to start seeing workarounds to all those challenges and obstacles. So I love that question. Mindset, like I said, is the number one asset that you can have, a positive mindset, and the number one hindrance if you have the wrong perspective. So I'd love to hear your comments. I'd love to hear some of your suggestions and recommendations, especially book recommendations. What worked for you? Please like, share, subscribe, keep the questions coming, and I'll see you next Tuesday.